everybody. Welcome to another live, I would say, episode of the Top 10 show that we're doing here for our patrons. Initially on Thursday, they're getting a preview of the show. And then later on, this is the show that's going to drop on Tuesday. I'm one of your hosts, the Outlaw John Rocha, joined by...
I am Matt Knost, and welcome everybody that is in the chat. This is something we do for our patrons at the $10 and above level over at patreon.com/the top 10. And this is like a all Patreon kind of show today.
Yeah.
We got people checking in. We've got a guest coming up, the winner of our golden ticket tournament, Mr. Colson Kuliopulos. I think our Patreon and our patrons have gotten us through on some level the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a long year, and to have all their positivity and chiming in and comments and supporting us over Patreon, but joining in on the golden ticket tournament and now with the live chat and all that jazz, it's a motivator, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're excited to welcome on in just a few seconds here the winner of the Golden Ticket tournament, the initial Golden Ticket tournament. And thanks to all of you who are watching us live, $10 and above patrons getting a chance to see this thing a little bit early. We will have your comments or read your comments at least. If we can't bring them up on screen, we can at least read them when we go through our lists as well. So you get to chime in and yell at us or support us, or suggest other ones maybe by the end of the show for sure to make your comments be heard for sure. That's going to be fun. And maybe we'll put the link in the chat, the StreamYard link for somebody to come in at the end and have your points of views or feelings about our situation or about our lists.
Yeah. Well, we did it last time for a coin flip.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll be interesting because it's been a while since we had a guest. So the 3-man show, how we're going to divvy up who goes where, what. Because it's, today we're doing scenes of the 70s, so it could end up being hypothetically 30 different scenes.
Right. Which is a lot.
Yeah, which is a lot.
But I love it. I'm looking forward to it. Should we bring him on now, or should we talk a little bit more about the 70s? What do you say? Should we bring him on now?
Well, I say we go ahead and bring him on now because he's definitely never experienced a moment of the 70s. So we should get his perspective of what it was like to watch those movies in the theater.
Let's do it. And shout out to Johanna, who's joining us here. Robert Carney, hanging out in the mod, making sure the chat is respectful. Philip Hunt, Matthew Simmons, Chris Cabrera, and Jay Goldeneyes. Don't worry, Jay Goldeneyes. I've got my bongos. But it's great that you're here. But eventually, if we need you, we may need you to come in. We shall see. But let's bring him in now. Please, Matt, go ahead. The Golden Ticket was your baby, so please.
Yeah, we did a huge Jeopardy style, an homage to Jeopardy here on the show. It was all trivia, and there were a couple killers in the tournament. Yeah. A couple people that after their first match, you're like, we both had them pegged for this dude could win it, or this gal could win it, just depending on whomever it was. And Colson was one of those. It's just like, he's going to be a tough out for anybody. And ultimately it didn't matter. He beat all comers. It was really impressive. But we also, like, as I mentioned before, we got to meet 60 some odd, 70 some odd people throughout the course of it. It was, a whole lot of fun just to put faces to names that we've been associating and calling out on the show for years now. So it was a lot of fun, but Colson is the overall big boy winner.
Yeah.
And we should get him a sash and a belt and whatever else,
I'm down with that. Should we, well, please go ahead. Give him the drum roll, man.
Oh, all right. Well, Jay Goldeneyes, do your mouth drum roll. We know you're doing it out there. Coming to the show, first time appearance, big time fan of movies in and of itself. And he suggested 70s scenes of the 70s, and we were all for it. So please, your warmest of welcomes to the Golden Ticket winner, Mr. Colson Kuliopulos.
There he is. Boom. Hey, what's up, Colson? How are you, dude?
All the belts, all the records. No, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm clearly 55. I lived through the whole decade.
Dude, you look great.
Yeah. It's a lot of exfoliating of my skin.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I would say that and hair dye. If that's what your hair looks like at 55. That's impressive.
Oh yeah. No, I experienced all of it. Watergate, other things that happened.
It's nice.
I love it. I love it.
One event. That proves your bona fides as far as I'm concerned. This dude definitely lived the 70s.
He's bona fide. What made you choose this? I mean, because you going through the whole tournament. What was on the line was you get to be a guest on the Top 10 show, and you get to pick your topic. Something that the Boss Hog level patrons get to do with the $50 above, picking one a month. But you went through the whole gauntlet of the tournament. Did you know you were going to select the top 10 scenes from films from the 1970s, or did that kind of come along in your mind as you were getting closer and closer to the final?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about a couple different topics. I ultimately settled on scenes of the 70s because I love the movies of the 70s. I always have. My two favorite films of all time are from the 70s, American Graffiti and The Last Picture Show.
Okay.
So yeah, I've always just been drawn to that decade. And I mean, you guys never really talk about scenes, like individual scenes.
That's true.
Of movies. And I kind of wanted to do something that would allow for a little bit more conversation than just like, here's 10 movies or what have you.
Mm-hmm. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely lead to it. And technically you sent us just scenes of the 70s. So it could be the best, or it could be your favorite. It could be
even worse.
Yeah.
Well, I went with
yeah,
or worse. You could do anything you like.
Right.
Yeah, personally, I just went for my favorites. They may not be the best, but I was like, this is open to interpretation, and we're probably going to have some overlap between the three of us.
Let's hope so. Or else this is going to be a long ass show if we don't. That's for sure.
Well, it could be you have one scene from a movie and he has the same different scene. From the same movie.
For sure. We got 15 of y'all watching us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to all the patrons who are joining us. I see Francisco Ramirez Burgos in the chat. Lemke's up in here, probably shooting off questions till his face comes off. It's so funny to see him be a part of this thing. But Colson, what is it about the 70s that speaks to you in terms of a decade of film? To me, it's arguably the greatest decade of film ever. But you're obviously, as Matt pointed out, you're a whippersnapper, you're a youngin. What is it that made you fall in love with 70s films? I know you've got those two favorites you mentioned, but I mean, the 70s, there's a lot that happened in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge history buff on top of being a fan of that decade. Yeah, I mean, I don't really so my opinion on decades of movies is that they all kind of have things that make them great that separate them from the other decades. Movies that are great in the 2010s could not have been released in the 2000s, and they're great for reasons that are only like Mad Max Fury Road couldn't have come out in 2009.
Right.
And for whatever reason, the type of movies that were getting made in the 70s, I mean, they were auteur driven. They were, a lot of studios were taking risks on these these people fresh out of film school. It was the first generation where directors were coming straight out of straight out of Compton.
Two guys in the 90s, and then it was a while.
Dr. Dre was a fantastic filmmaker
in the 70s.
I guess it's just sort of the pacing. They're very we'll say deliberately paced, and I really miss that in films, specifically in the 80s. Films got way quicker, you know.
Yeah. Cocaine.
It's all the drugs.
We ain't got time for this shit. We gotta go. You ready to shoot? This is gonna be the best movie you've ever fucking seen, man. I'm gonna do that right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I love those cocaine fueled movies as much as the next guy. I'm actually writing a mockumentary about 80s coked up movies right now. So.
Oh wow. Okay. That's great. Well, I mean, it's so funny because the 80s are what happened as a result of the 70s. Right at the tail end of the 70s, we started seeing these more tentpole pictures like Star Wars, like Superman the movie, like Jaws, these films that were about big money budgets. And that's what kind of moved us into the 80s, where everything was about trying to find the next big crowd-pleasing spectacle film, and then start having the conversations of appealing to the four quadrants, having conversations about IP. All of that started happening in the 80s. And I think we wanted to kind of break away from the dourness and the realism of the 70s. Not that there weren't some stark films in the 80s, but certainly the 80s is a lot more lighter overall in terms of its approach to film than the 70s, Matt.
I mean, that was Reagan. And Reaganomics, it was the 80s, and it was like money, money, money. All this movies can make a boatload of cash. We should make more movies that make a boatload of cash. And that was it just fit beautifully into the 80s. Everything was, we were sick of Carter and his "we need to stay home." I wasn't alive for that, but just the positivity thereafter of Reagan coming in, being like, guys, we're America.
It's the Malaise speech that Carter gave.
Exactly, from the Rose Garden.
Exactly.
Wearing, I believe, a sweater. And everybody was like, that's not what I want my president to look like.
It's like when Obama was wearing a bike helmet that one time and everyone went crazy.
Anything that doesn't make him look pure machismo.
Like look at Vladimir Putin with his like biceps. It's like it's bullshit.
Dude, I'm not touching that.
Dukakis lost because he was in a tank and the helmet looked like Mickey Mouse ears on the side of his head. He lost because it made him look childish.
Why he lost.
Nixon lost the election to Kennedy because there was sweating on his upper lip.
Well,
please.
Also, Kennedy's easy on the eyes if television is a new medium.
Right.
But it was close. It was. I think you only won by
it was
1 or 2% of the vote. It was not a blowout.
They said if you listened to it, Nixon crushed him. But if you watched it, it wasn't even close.
Right. Well, it's like John Kerry hanging off that windsurfing. And he's like, nope, no thanks. You're out. You're out.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Howard Dean. Everybody went, nah, I'm not voting for that guy.
Nowadays, that wouldn't be anything.
Depends on who it is.
I guess true. Good point. Philip Punson here, Ed Buskirk, Matthew Simmons. Thank you all so much for joining us as we jump into this topic. Top 10 scenes from films of the 1970s. So it's going to be a lot of breakdown. Matt and I, you all know how we usually do the show, throwing in a third person, which has been a while since we've had a third person on the show. And I don't know if we've done it in COVID times yet. So this will be our first time trying to do it in COVID times, Matt. So this should be interesting for sure.
But I think we'll pull it off beautifully.
All right.
So because it's been a while, the way it works, instead of 3, we do our bottom 5. So you got it in your bottom 5, then we talk about it now. Otherwise, we punt to the top 5, and then we trade one apiece once we're up there. So, so long as we're all on the same page, that's half the rules. So once we have revealed all 3 of our personal top 10 lists, we create the shows between the 3 of us.
Yeah. And here's the deal. If you have a scene from a film that is in the top 5 here in the bottom 5, and someone else has it in their top 5, the film itself, then we punt to when the film gets discussed. So that's how we're going to do it for sure. Yeah.
And I would vote we do it by, if I have one scene, if you have the movie in your top 5, why don't we just save both scenes to the discussion of the movie?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
We punt it to where the movie, whoever has the movie highest on their list, that's where we're punting to in terms
Makes
of,
sense to me.
Yeah. Real quick, I actually did it because there was so many choices. I made a painful choice of limiting it like 1 per director. So so there might be a couple of films that would be on my top 10, but I kind of want to just like to spread the
I respect that. I did not do that. I did not do that. So fuck you both. I was like, I went with what I want to do, and so that's what I went with. So, but I respect that approach to it for sure. But I couldn't resist putting more than 1.
There's 2 of us, so we won and you're wrong. You know what I mean? That's how democracy works.
I guess so.
Enjoy being wrong. Anyway, Colson, you're looking sharp today.
Oh,
very handsome.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Rocha over there with his Marty McFly.
It's cold. I'm sorry I can't dress like I walked out of a Target, Colson. It's cold in here because of all the hail and stuff that's
like that vest isn't sold at fucking Target. How dare you?
It isn't.
Well, that specific one, but variations, I'm pretty sure they got.
I'm sure they got variations of everything at Target, for God's sake. But anyway, no, it's just cold here with the we don't turn the heat on during the day to kind of save on money. And it was hailing yesterday.
Wow.
So it's been cold and rainy here in San Diego. So
pretty cold in San Diego. Jeez.
It is.
Honestly, look, we both used to live in cold weather.
Yeah.
Trust me. Once you live in warm weather for a long enough time, you got thin skin. You just do.
Colson,
it happens.
Keep your judgment to yourself.
Yeah. No, 4 distinct seasons over here, so I wouldn't want it the other way.
Although, when we both go visit cold, it's like when you mentally know going into it, oh, it's going to be cold. It's like, fine, I have zero problem with that. But when you're used to 70-ish or 68 this time of year, and suddenly it's 48. You're like, it's kind of cold out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's like running 2 miles. You know you're going to run 2 miles. You get tired at the end of 2 miles. But if you know it's 8, you're going to conserve yourself till you get tired at the end of 8 miles. That's the way it goes.
Sure. And I like us explaining why we're pussies. Anyway, you ready to start
and
this?
I like wearing a vest, so fuck you. I get to wear what I want.
Hey, I got a thin hoodie on. You know, it's chilly.
Right. This has been the top 10 snowstorms of the 70s.
Oh, are you kidding me? We had lightning at our house 2 nights ago, and it put a smile on my face. It's like, lightning.
Yeah.
I made it lightning. It doesn't happen here. It rains,
but wow, just so we get some rain in here, man. I made her open the glass door in the living room so I could hear the sounds of raindrops because you rarely get it in California.
Yeah, you can hear it crisp as day on our roof, so it's great. It's like, this is nice. Look at that weather, huh?
It does make it more special when it only happens like once a year.
Exactly, it does.
It's true. It's true. Where are you at again, Colson? You in Boston? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I'm in Boston.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, it definitely gets cold there. I've been there. All right. Anyway, should Colson start, Matt, or how do we do this normally? I forget. It's been a while since we've done the 3.
It goes me, then John, then Colson. In the past, that's the way we've done it.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
You already told him how the show works, so let's kick it off, my friend.
All right. So once again, we're dancing around. I tried to just include all kinds of different stuff. So my 10 is Young Frankenstein. Does anybody have that?
I do not have Young Frankenstein. No.
Okay. I could have chosen any number of scenes.
Definitely.
I kind of like the continuing Igor hump thing, but that's not one scene. So the introduction where he's like Frankenstein, like he questions on him, like, "Are you sure about that?" And then he's like, "Oh, what's your name, Igor?" That's not what I was told. And be like, "Well, it looks like you heard wrong," mocking him back to his face. But then that's where they start the hump thing. There's a ton of small scenes, but I just love that one sets up jokes that come later on.
Yeah.
I don't know. The movie as a whole is fun. You could do the putting on the Ritz is the most iconic of scenes.
Yeah.
But I like the Gene Hackman is the blind priest. Cigars.
I would have picked Gene Hackman. Yeah. As far as the scenes in that go.
I just wanted more main cast members rather.
Yeah. Also the scene where Frankenstein and Madeline Kahn are getting it on in the grass there in the hay, and she says, "Where are you going?" "Oh, that's just like all the rest, 5 or 6 quick ones, and you're off with the boys." "Well, you better keep your mouth shut."
Cloris Leachman like cracks me up in that movie. Oh my god. I don't know why I always laugh when she's like talking about Ovaltine, like it's like some Ovaltine perhaps.
The horses whinnying every time she's close.
Oh yeah.
I like
Lou's,
her.
Lou's got a million great small little scenes.
Her face when she's hurt every time. He goes, "No, thank you." She's like,
Cloris Leachman, like first of all, rest in peace because she died this year. But like also like great dramatic actress too. If you've ever seen her like early stuff, like
Last Picture Show, what have you? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Last Picture Show. I mean, she's phenomenal in that.
Definitely. All right, Matt, what's your number 9, brother?
My number 9 is Pumping Iron, when Schwarzenegger is sitting at breakfast with Lou Ferrigno and his dad, and he's and the mom, and he's talking shit to all 3 because they were like talking shit, and then by the end of it, his dad is helping Arnold talk shit to Lou. It is a masterclass in this weird alpha male world. All these guys that tiptoe around Arnold, it's fucking bananas to watch. That scene to me is I love it. I think
I love that pick. Like in general, that's like I never would have thought of putting Pumping Iron on this list.
Well, that's why I danced around. It's like, a little this, little that, because I know we're gonna get to the more serious, so might as well have some fun. But that scene.
That scene where he's talking about like how whenever he goes to the gym, he's like always coming, like when he's lifting weights, like just completely like
I'm coming at the gym, I'm coming at home, I'm coming everywhere, and you're like, this fucking guy.
Oh my god,
this guy, I love it. He's like, I work on the posing 2 weeks out, and then I got it perfect. No one's going to beat me. I called my mom yesterday. I told her I already won.
You ever just think about Schwarzenegger and how like everything he did it sounds like a cartoon character, like what they would do. Like he's like, I conquered, I'm the strongest man in the world, and now what I'll do is I will be the world's biggest movie star. I did that. Now I'm gonna run for public office. oh, I did that, and then it's just like everything he set out to do.
Yeah. Now I'm going to
He
sleep with my maid
accomplished.
and have illegitimate child. Yeah, he did all of it. He did it all. He ran the gamut.
Everything one man can do, he did, and he's
He ran the gamut.
from Austria. It's crazy.
Exactly. He's lived one of the more interesting lives.
That's for damn sure. And still an icon, kind of survived a dip in his popularity, became governor, as you said there, Colson. Then after that, tried to come back a little bit, but now he's kind of firmly planted where he is as Arnold Schwarzenegger, and people still revere and admire him and enjoy him on social media. He uses TikTok, he uses Instagram, he uses Twitter really well. So yeah, you got to give him props for that for sure. All right.
So that was my 9.
Yeah. What's your 8?
My 8 is World of Pure Imagination, Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I thought about that. Yeah.
Okay. All you.
Yeah. Can once again choose numerous scenes from that, but that whole song and Gene Wilder just cements the magic that they intone throughout. I think it's the perfect encapsulation of everything about that movie. You know, yes, there is wonder, but there's also danger, and it's a nice glimpse into what the rest of the movie is going to be.
Right.
I don't know. It just sets a beautiful tone, and so done so wonderfully and artfully by Gene Wilder that this guy, it's amazing the amount of work that he put out in a short amount of time in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about that scene, and I also thought about his introduction scene, which I think is arguably the greatest, one of the 2 greatest character introductions of all time, up with Omar Sharif and Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
I just think that like he his stipulation for doing the movie was to put that scene in the movie, Gene Wilder, because it's just like such a great way to introduce that character.
Yeah, that you can't trust him from moment one. Like what's the truth and what's a lie.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of that movie, but that scene, the song, the way he sings it, it is both touching, heartfelt, and tragic at the same time. And when you're listening to it, it's so well done because it is, you know, kind of a lost innocence, a lost childhood that he's singing about and making you remember about it. And then, of course, everything that's happening around that song in this film is definitely about about childhood that's gone wrong for the most part. Yeah. Grandpa Joe being a lazy ass, that's for sure, for all of this as well.
Oh my god, yeah. Grandpa Joe is completely he's the villain of the movie, isn't
useless.
Speaking of Coke, someone noticed that he has the Coke straw pinky where you grow your pinky nail out longer so you can take dabs of Coke to snort it. It just has that one long, and they're like, in that time, there's only kind of one reason you did that.
Yeah.
And it's like, there you go.
I saw him. I'm in this class. I'm finishing up my last semester at film school, and we're doing this class on Norman Lear right now, and we're watching this clip from this show, Chico and the Man or something. Chico and the Man. Yeah. And like, is that dad? And I'm like, is that Grandpa Joe? And like, it was.
Look, they had to get their start somewhere, you know.
Yeah, I know. It was bizarre to like see. It's like seeing like the guy that played like the Cowardly Lion in a movie, or it's just like a piece of my childhood, but he's like doing something different. It was like really weird.
Yeah. That's how I got to know him.
Really?
First, because I didn't see the movie until much later in life. And I saw him on that because also Scatman Crothers is in Chico and the Man as well.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah. So yeah, wow. It's a damn good show.
Colson, it's impressive as a 55-year-old that you didn't see Chico and the Man when it was out. Yeah, because there's only 3 stations.
Yeah, I was fighting in Nam at the time. We didn't get TV.
Well, by the way, good for you for going back to school.
Yeah. I'm getting my education again.
Yeah, it's smart. You can get it at any time. Good for you.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. Where are we on?
All right. So that was my 8.
Yep.
My 7 is Monty Python. 'Tis but a scratch.
Holy Grail, right? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
That's my number 6, but a different scene. So I guess we can talk about it. Is it on your list, Wilson?
I'm not a big Monty Python fan, to be honest.
Get the fuck off the show. Get the fuck off the show, man.
Yeah. It's not for everyone, and it's definitely not for me. But it's fine.
How many of you have you seen?
I've seen Holy Grail and The Meaning of Life.
Okay. As a guy that likes history, I think you might like Life of Brian the most.
I might, yeah.
There's a great, basically, Israeli-Palestinian discussion in the middle of the movie where they use different religious sects there, and it translates across all year. Like, man, we've been having the same conversation in different form.
My problem with Monty Python and the Holy Grail is that I knew the entire movie before I saw the movie. So it's like okay, you know, so all the parts everyone else was surprised by, I was like, oh yeah, where's that part?
Yeah, it'll do that.
I don't really blame them. I blame you. You know, certainly as soon as you heard one scene, Colson, you should have run and rented it and watched it, but you waited too long, heard all the scenes from all your friends, and it ruined it for you. So you have no one else to blame but yourself.
That's fair.
This is, this is such a great film, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I put the constitutional peasant scene. That's my favorite scene.
Great scene.
Right? The conversation about what constitutes an actual government system and the autonomous collective argument versus the king, and then making fun of Excalibur and this like cherished legendary part of English history, I thought was genius. And then having him grab him at the end, trying to tell him to shut up. And he's like, come see the violent inherent in the system. I'm being repressed. Help, help. Which we're seeing nowadays all the time.
It's always
been.
They do that quite a bit. I love bring out your dead and like, this one's a king. How do you know? He's not covered in shit. And apparently that was the only ad-lib line in the entire script.
Oh, is it really? Oh,
yeah, wow. I believe so. It's by Eric Idle. I think I'm pretty I read that once.
John Cleese is the best part of that movie. Like, I think, like,
he's got so many great small parts. That was the first one I wrote down. I was like, I don't really care because this movie's got a million, just like Young Frankenstein.
I
mean, the tis but a scratch. What? No, we'll call it a draw at the end when he's lost all 4 limbs. We'll call it a draw. Look at you running away. Running away. Oh, it's fucking great.
I'll bite your knees off.
Yeah, exactly. When he's kicking him, when he's lost both of his arms. What do you do? I'll cut off one of your legs. It just continues. The absurdity in the midst of all this where they're having political and historical discussions.
That's the brilliance of it, yeah. Someone said, Michael D. Dyke says, you can call me Tim. Yeah.
See, I remember when I first heard that joke, I laughed really hard at it, but I heard someone else tell it. So it's like all these things. Like I remember finding the "What is your favorite color" scene really funny when my friend showed it to me. Like when I was like 10, and then I saw the movie eventually, and I'm like, so it was just kind of like all the parts that like weren't the parts that everyone like highlighted for me were not that funny. So I kind of just like, But I'll probably like Life of Brian more if I check that out.
Fair enough. Yeah. A couple of comments. Chris Lemke said Life of Brian is low-key my favorite. I wrote a paper in college about what the Roman Empire has done for us scene. And then Ends of the Earth says one of our church pastors thought it would be a good idea for us to watch the Life of Brian during youth group with our parents in the room. They were soon let go. Well, that's not a lie. Making you question religion there.
In the middle of a child indoctrination.
Right, exactly. Don't be messing with the indoctrination.
Yeah, I went to CCD every week. Like, did that for years on end. I can't even imagine watching Life of Brian.
It's like showing like Jaws at like a scuba class. It's like
right.
Yeah, the dangers of you would.
Yeah, it's like here's what'll happen if you do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thankfully VeggieTales came long after I was finished. I'm sure they forced kids to watch VeggieTales nonstop.
God help us all. All right, what's your next one, Matt?
My 6 and final of the bottom 5 is from Alien.
Ooh,
it was close. It's my like 11. It was like fighting for my last slot. Yeah,
that's in my 8th slot. What scene from Alien for you? I think it's the same one, possibly. Oh, no.
I chose the chest burster.
Yeah, that's the one I chose as well. Yeah.
Just because when you watch it now, knowing that they didn't tell the actors beforehand that this was actually going to happen, so the look of shock and horror on their face is genuine. It's a great little moment of great choice on directing, but then to see all these people kind of locked into who they were on set, and it translates across. I mean, the movie as a whole is just pitch perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
can I
it was really hard to leave that off. Like my it was fighting for like I think the 10th slot with like 9 other things. But yeah, I know like it's a masterpiece of a movie. It's basically like, you know, it's Jaws in space, as everyone keeps saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just the way it starts too, because you're lulled into a sense of
Security.
false sense of security, but like also that dread never leaves you because of how this all happened, and you're like, wait, he's fine now? How can he be fine? Everyone, and you know, and there's so much symbolism in that scene where something bad happens and everyone's just kind of, oh, he's fine now, and they're just gonna let's just go on with life, let's just keep eating our food and not really address exploring more what happened here. Let's just ignore it. And then it is until he starts to spit out the spaghetti and then all that shit starts to happen. That is just like they really get woken up to what's actually going to be happening to them through this whole thing. And they're too shocked to kill that thing. And Veronica Cartwright steals it when she's like crying. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that sticks in my head, too. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, I also love how shitty that movie looks, like, because compared to like 2001 and like then Star Wars after that and then Alien in 79, like space is starting to look like it's like people live there.
Yeah,
finally.
that's what's gonna happen. Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I mean, people have like, you know, mugs of coffee next to like, you know, circuit boards. It's like, yeah,
you're out there for years. It makes more sense as opposed to this clinical pristine kind of situation if we do in fact live in space. Yeah, I mean, there's for some reason in the belly of the ship there are hanging chains and water dripping off of pipes. Like, but I didn't care. I was like, this. I don't know. It feels lived. It feels real.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And like they think that they're not going to get murdered when there's like dripping water and chains everywhere. It's like.
That's a great point. Robert Carney says the scene in the air duct with the xenomorph scared the living crap out of me the first time watching.
Oh, you mean the happy birthday scene?
It's like, ah!
I call that the happy birthday scene. It's like, yeah.
To me, it was it was the leg uncurling behind. I think it was Yaphet Kotto or Harry Dean Stanton. Just uncurling. Yeah. And then that was just like so slow, and you're just like, oh my God. So
that scene's even scarier in the extended cut of that movie because there's like multiple shots where Harry Dean Stanton's just like walking around and you see the xenomorph like hanging from the chains and they don't like draw attention to it too much. Yeah, it's
I like that. Lemke says it's such a great flick and sadly a parable for 2020. If we had just listened to the people and followed protocol, maybe we wouldn't all be in this mess. That's fair. That might be fair. Also,
like, you know, it's the company's the bad guy in the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Well, they have specific motivations. It's easy to make a nebulous, faceless organization.
Yep.
Yeah.
The villain in this instance.
That turns us into pawns for what they need to make their money. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right. That was Matt's 10 through 6.
Correct.
So I guess we're jumping into mine. My number 10 is Walken and De Niro in The Deer Hunter doing the Russian roulette scene.
Okay.
That's a punt. Yeah.
Oh, it's a punt. Oh, in your top 5. All right. Respect.
Oh, wait.
6 through 10 we talk about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's my number 6.
All right.
Okay.
We explained the rules when we started, Colson. Try to keep
okay. All right. I thought it was higher on my list. Sorry about that.
No worries. So it's number 6 on yours. Matt, is it on your list at all or no?
No, it is not.
Okay. All right. I actually rewatched some of this movie in preparation for our show today. I haven't seen it in a while. And just watching this scene, we're not talking about the second one. The second one is a tragic and certainly kind of what it leads to. But that scene when they're prisoners of war and they're in that camp and they're sitting there in the water, or I'm sorry, in the water on that barge or whatever, and just the tension and the like up to 11 type of stuff that's going on there, the slapping of the faces that, you know, it's the 70s. So they're really slapping De Niro, and De Niro looks like he's going to jump on top of this Vietnamese actor and just kill him, and Walken getting slapped. The acting on it is extraordinary, and you can't help be caught up in what's happening. And then the end of that scene, which I'm not going to ruin if anybody hasn't seen it, that is stellar, absolutely phenomenal. And you get a little bit of satisfaction from that as well. But what a scene, dude. Like, just seriously a high wire above broken glass and barbed wire. What'd you think there, Colson?
I mean, it's one of the greatest scenes ever filmed in American history. It's just phenomenal. I mean, we've never seen Christopher Walken quite like that.
Yeah.
Since I mean, it's completely insane to think of where his career has gone like since then.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally he'll pop up in something kind of dramatic, but he never like got to like that level of drama before. I think he can do it.
Sure.
If he wanted to. I just don't think it's like where he wants his career to go necessarily. But I don't know. It's Michael Camino. Like I sometimes feel bad for the dude, and other times I don't. Because reports are on Heaven's Gate he like waited hours for a cloud to go by or some shit, and it's like I mean he clearly had more movies of that caliber in him. I just don't I don't know if he quite deserves like immediate career ruining just like he basically like ended an entire decade of films, but with Heaven's Gate.
But they were looking for a reason.
That's also true. Yeah. And there was a lot of other movies like that at the time that were also people were ready to,
they were ready for the 80s.
Yeah. So it was going to happen anyway.
Yeah. Someone was going to have to take the fall for it that they were going to look at. And Cimino just happened to be the guy they went after. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, like the movie itself, I mean, I can't think of another movie that has like a 30+ minute wedding sequence at the front. I said The Godfather. That's exactly The Godfather. But then like have that like the pacing not be like totally destroyed. But
Matt, what's your feelings on that one?
I mean, I love that scene. I just don't go back to rewatch the Deer. Like I've seen the Deer Hunter. I enjoyed it. I think the wedding, if we started after that, I'd be totally fine with that.
Okay. Fair. Totally.
Because the dynamic of the friends kind of carries throughout, but I think you would get that regardless if they just went on a hunting trip and then now you see them get thrust into war type of thing. But who the fuck am I?
You've analyzed your film now.
But it's like I'm not denigrating the movie. It's just there are others from the 70s. I wrote it down. I was like, it's a hell of a scene. It's on my list, but it ultimately is like I will gladly go watch. And since we didn't say the best scenes of the 70s, it's just scenes of, I was like, I'm gonna choose this one.
Okay. All right. Then my number 9 is the opening of Patton.
Dude, I thought about it.
That's a punt.
That's in your top 5.
That's a punt.
Okay. All right. Want to make sure. All right. So then my number 8, as I mentioned with Matt, was the John Hurt scene in Aliens. And so then my number 7 is Star Wars: A New Hope, Obi-Wan's death scene. Not the shooting of the thing. Obi-Wan's death scene.
So I have a different scene.
Yeah, so punt. I'm just telling you now, punt.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so then my number 6 we've already talked about was the Constitutional Peasant Holy Grail. So we're off to Colson now. What's your number 10, bud?
My number 10 is weird.
Okay.
So I was between a lot of different things, but I wanted to put some John Carpenter on here because he's one of my favorite directors. So I have the opening credit sequence of Assault on Precinct 13.
Okay.
Which is something that I like watch all the time. It pumps me up. It's amazing. It's just like his synth music, like John Carpenter's like just distinct like minimalist like score, and like the letters are just like the font is great. It's just like blood red font, and then like John Carpenter's badass soundtrack, and it like comes directly after like this scene of racial violence in Los Angeles, and it's shot like the opening scene it's shot totally different than the rest of the movie. It's like way more handheld, and I don't know. I keep thinking that John Carpenter, although people talk about him a lot nowadays, is kind of strangely underrated as for all the contributions that he's done. I mean, I can't think of many other directors in the horror genre that have like so many different films that people consider classics and masterpieces. I mean, like people like talk about Wes Craven, but like, I mean, Carpenter's got, I mean, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, so I just had to like put him on here somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a great choice. I wish The Thing was in the 70s.
Yeah, if the thing was in the 70s, like Jesus, like
I watched a 20-minute video of these cinematographers and filmmakers trying to recreate the opening Thing slate using the same techniques, not using digital or anything like that. You trying to replicate the same techniques it was like a 20-minute video. It was fascinating.
Yeah, and like a thing that would take like 30 seconds to do today on like whatever Photoshop.
Taking the time to make it's like the craftsmanship that goes into the dumbest of things that pass by on screen for 7 seconds.
Yeah. Funny thing about The Thing though is that the worst shot in that movie is the first shot, where it's like the spaceship is going by. I really wish they didn't have that in the movie, because it like tells you that it's an alien before. Like, what you take that scene out, it's like, what the hell's going on? Why are they shooting at this dog?
Right.
You know? Yeah. That's the only flaw I have with that entire movie.
Fair enough. All right. So that's your number 10. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is the ending of Being There, the Hal Ashby.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice choice, Peter Sellers.
Yeah, so I mean, this movie's great. You could never in a million years make this movie today, for so many different reasons. But I mean, Peter Sellers, just national treasure. Dr. Strangelove, obviously, but I honestly like this performance maybe even more than Dr. Strangelove. But so like the scene, I don't even know if I want to talk about it because it's spoiling this great underrated movie, but I guess I kind of have to because I.
Can you do a non-spoiler discussion?
Yeah. It's a scene that is it's an ending that's so surprising. Like, never in a million years would you think that the movie leading up to that point would end that way. It's sort of like in equal parts Mary Poppins and like a Shyamalan twist,
Okay.
But it's like magical realism in this movie that up to that point had absolutely nothing to do with that sort of filmmaking. And Roger Ebert taught a class on this movie, and he specifically focused on the ending, and he said, he basically paused it and said, okay, people in the audience, explain to me what's going on with this ending, like what's your interpretation? And then every person in the class that tried to like explain away what was happening, like, oh, maybe he's standing on something, maybe something different's going on. He's like, no, you can't say that. Like, the director made a choice. He's showing you something. You need to grapple with it. You need to come to terms with what's being shown. You can't try to like explain logically what's happening. It really, like, it's a great movie, but that ending kind of like puts it up a few notches for me.
Okay. I have not seen it. So
yeah, I haven't seen it either. It's one of those ones that I've just kind of never found myself in the mood to revisit, but maybe after this show, I've got a couple hours between my other show. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. It's one that constantly comes back. And Steve Morris, my co-host on the Cinephiles, he mentions it all the time. So maybe that's a possibility for sure. That's a great choice, I'm sure, because a lot of people love that movie and revere that movie. Certainly people in the chat, Philip Hunt says Being There is brilliant. So there you go. All right. What number was that for you? 9 or 8?
That was 9.
Okay. What's your 8, bud?
My 8 is Jaws, the Indianapolis.
That's a punt.
That's a punt.
That's a punt.
Yes,
I thought that'd be a punt.
All right. What's your 7?
My 7 is Apocalypse Now.
That's a punt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's a
Just
punt.
not
I could have told you that before we started.
The Ride of the Valkyries.
Doesn't matter. It's a punt because we're talking about it later.
Yeah.
Look, in 6, Deer Hunter. So
okay. So
6 was Deer Hunter.
Top 5.
Okay.
All right. We jump back to Matt Knost, going to our 5 through 1. What do you got, man?
And then this works the same way as always, Colson. So if I bring it up at 5 and you got a 2, tell me to punt. But if it's at 4, we're talking about it more than likely now.
Sure.
So at 5, Network. Did anybody else choose?
That's a punt.
That's a punt. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. John, what do you got at 5?
I have the Jaws scene. So is that a punt?
That is still a punt.
Okay. Still a punt. Sounds good. All right. What do you have at 5, Colson?
I have, hold on, pull it
Try to stay
I
focused.
don't have my list memorized. Okay, I don't do this for a living.
Neither do I.
I have my notes open, dude.
It's typed up in
I
front of me.
have it right here. It is a determined phone. My number 5 is The Last Picture Show.
All right.
Okay.
It's Sam's Ben Johnson's monologue in The Last Picture Show. So this is if either of you've seen this movie, right? No.
Yeah. Last
I've seen like half of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's my second favorite film of all time. I had to pick it for something. I didn't pick American Graffiti.
What a ringing endorsement! I had to pick it. It was guys.
Okay, let me back up on that. No, like it's interesting because like the entire movie is sort of a progressive. Like every scene of that movie to me is great. Like it's beautiful scene after beautiful scene. Some of them are really depressing, but most of it's just kind of like weighs on you. And then this monologue is like kind of the oasis throughout this like throughout this like the movie is very like lonely, and like it kind of like the whole thing kind of like swallows you in this like this atmosphere of like it's this ghost town that's like way past its prime, and then this one monologue in the middle. But like the whole movie kind of centers around this speech from this character. He's the guy that runs the picture show, and that they're slowly pushing on him as he's taking like the main characters to this beach. And and he's saying things like, you know, he's talking about how he used to own the land there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you weren't aware of before that scene. And he's like saying like how he used to, you know, after his kids died, and after his first wife went crazy, he basically like went to that land with this girl that he was involved with, and it's like this really like beautiful like moment amongst this like mostly depressing kind of movie, but it's like the one kind of ray of like hope in the film. And then at the end he's like, and like the main character asks him, you know, like what happened to the woman. He's like, oh well, she was married the whole time, so she went off and did something else. And you find out that it's a character in the rest of the film that you know, and like you never in a million years would think these two characters were related. And it kind of goes into the like how everyone's emotionally just kind of repressed in this town, and like these things will happen that really mean a lot to people. Like characters will die in this film, and then people will just kind of like talk about it like it's town gossip. And you know, like, and the main character is like breaking down because he's clearly really emotional and like trying to like deal with like the tone of this town. Is like things happen, you gotta kind of deal with it. And Cloris Leachman's character throughout the whole thing too, I mean, she's just on the brink of like tears like the whole movie. And so like, you know, like the ending was a contender for me, just like one of the most like gorgeous endings to a movie I've ever seen. So anyway.
All right, that was your 5. Any thoughts on that matter? Should we move on?
No, just everything he explained is what I saw it when I was younger, and the emotion that carries with me is sad. And I didn't like it when I was watching it because I just wasn't the right age. So I've never gone back to rewatch it because in my head it's just sad.
It is very sad.
Yeah, and
you're not wrong.
Just sad.
It's just sad. I was like 15 or 16 when I saw it, and I was like, no, this is not what I want to see right now.
Well, I mean, like I lived through like the fall of those ghost towns being 55. Like I saw like I saw the transition, you know, firsthand. So that's why it really resonates with me.
That's right. All right. Anyway, Matt,
that's why you didn't have a TV and you couldn't see Chico and the Man, you know? Just this depressed economic zone that you were living in at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's your 4, brother?
Oh, my 4 is
no. It goes
Matt,
to me now.
It goes to Matt.
Oh, right. Sorry.
One that nobody's gonna have. The Jerk.
Yeah, that's all you.
No.
Yep. I don't know.
Dude.
The cans thing.
The cans. It's the most encapsulated. It's long enough to where it's a full scene. And it's not just one joke that I love in the midst of. I don't know, because absurdist like that, a lot of Steve Martin on that level does not work for me at all.
Yeah.
but that movie just sings. I think I don't know, he got the perfect amount of stupid.
Yeah.
Where you can see the intelligence of how much time they had to work on the stupid.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. We took the time, the mental capacity of intelligent individuals to come up with a very well-structured and joked out, ridiculously stupid movie.
Oh yeah.
And I think I love the endeavor and the results to me, but the cans, he hates these cans. And then he runs inside. There's cans here. And they just play, it's not the cans, it's you. But it takes lands by. I think the first thing he runs to is the Coke machine after the cans, the motor oil cans, and he's like, "There's cans in there." Just brilliant. How dumb that character is.
I love that he's also technically, I think, in the Muppets, like that, basically the same character.
Oh, the Muppets movie. Oh,
yeah. The Muppet movie for like Steve Martin is their waiter. In one scene, like basically just his character from The Jerk, but yeah,
that could be funny if that's where he ended up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's like
all done.
Navin Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching that as a young kid, and this is like when you reflect back on your life, you realize, oh yeah, I was a pretty sensitive kid. I had no idea I was probably maybe 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years. I don't know how old I was when I watched it. But that scene where he comes out after trying to read her letter and the water and it's all that, and he comes out with the dogs covering his private parts and stuff. Like, I took that as a legitimate scene, and I was all emotional for him because he's playing it so sadly. And then I get older, I'm like, that's a brilliantly funny scene.
Oh yeah,
on so many levels,
I still I've quoted it before, but like today felt like a week, but yesterday felt like 2 days. Just doing that when someone makes up a ridiculous time frame for something, you're like, oh, okay, well, tomorrow is going to feel like a day, but the day after,
it's like when people say things like, it doesn't really feel like a Thursday. It's like, what does a Thursday feel like?
What does that even mean? Yeah. All right. So then my number 4 is the training montage from Rocky, the first Rocky film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great choice.
Anybody? Nobody?
Oh,
okay. Choice, yeah. I mean, this one, for so many reasons, right? As a kid who kind of got into working out, because I've spoken about it on the show and other shows many, many times when I was in my teens. This was a franchise I always went back to. And just that scene where he like finally gets into a position in his mind where he's ready to take on Apollo at the training montage. And there have been many training montages throughout the series, and there are probably better ones. But there's something about this first one that still holds a special place in my heart, and seeing what he does. And, because he's not like a built dude like he becomes in Rocky 4. He's just he's a ham and egger who's got a shot at the champion. And so he's going to push himself as hard. And how many of us like have our dreams in our small towns or in our lives, and we think, God, we can't possibly get there. Yeah. But the first step is like just believing that you can and starting the process of somehow finding your way to get there. That's how everybody does it. Who comes from those kinds of situations. And so that's so inspirational still to watch. I love when he's doing the one-arm push-up, because as it starts out, he's literally struggling a little bit, blah, 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 and then he starts doing the one-arm push-ups near the end, and he kind of leans back and he has that Stallone smirk, and the guy goes, "You gotta kill him, you gotta kill him," and he goes like that. It's that kind of, he's growing in confidence, so he's ready for the fight. So I love that scene on so many levels.
Have you seen that scene with the score removed?
No,
it's
I love it when they do that.
Yeah, it's just like in his note. It's just
I saw one the other day, Grease Lightning without the music.
Oh
wow!
So it's a guy doing a bad Travolta, but it's not so bad where he's doing cartoonish. It's great. My all-time favorite is Elvis without any music, and you just hear the shoes screeching around on the wood as he's shimmying around.
Oh my god!
That one to me is brilliant. Yeah, I love those.
But it's followed up by another great scene, which is him and Adrian having that conversation about whether he's got enough to go. He just wants to go the distance. He doesn't want to embarrass himself. He just wants to be able to hang, and I don't know. I know it's stupid, but when you're playing anything, when you're competitive in anything, that's what you really want. You just want to have a shot at winning. You don't want to be embarrassed when you walk out there. So it's still powerful. A lot of those scenes are still powerful in the movie. So, all right. What's your 4, Colson? Oh,
My
Jesus
4 is the twin son. I memorized this one. My 4 is the twin.
Still a punt, my man. Still a punt.
Star Wars. Okay.
Still a punt.
I
All
really
right.
Still a
like
punt.
Star Wars.
All right.
All right. 3 is 3.
No,
is,
Colson.
Hold on.
We'll go
I
back
do my
on that.
3, and then John does his 3, and we come back to you for yours.
Yeah.
I've listened to you say that a million times. Never actually thought about it before. All right.
Yeah. One at a time, bud.
My 3 is from The Godfather 2.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Anybody?
I picked Apocalypse Now for
Okay, for
Coppola.
Coppola.
Mhm.
It's the
Godfather
ending.
2, you said. Godfather
Yes,
2.
Godfather
right?
2.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have that. Go ahead.
It's the ending of the Hyman Roth, Frank Pantangeli,
Mm-hmm.
and Fredo, because they all kind of 3 bleed together, but it's the culmination of Michael really seizing control. So it's Hyman getting paraded through the airport and killed.
Yes.
Frank having the discussion with Duvall and eventually realizing that he needs to kill himself into Fredo, because it's all the storylines coming to one big crescendo where it results in you seeing Michael sitting alone, and that is his fate. He is going to be alone, as he tries to control this massive empire, and it sets up what his father didn't want for him and for his life, and him ultimately becoming evil incarnate fully.
Yep.
To me, like the stuff with Fredo is the most compelling things in the whole franchise. I mean, John Cazale is one of my heroes. He's famously only was in 5 movies. Every single one of them is a stone cold banger.
Pretty much.
But all 5 of them were nominated for Best Picture, and I mean, he was not married to Meryl Streep. It was like involved with Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
And I think no one gives him credit for the work that he does in this movie, or really Dog Day Afternoon either.
Wow. Okay. I would push back on you, Colson. There's a lot of people who give John Cazale credit for the work he's done in these films.
A little bit less than I think he deserves.
Well, of course. Then Pacino, maybe, or De Niro. That's
fair. He wasn't the lead, and also he passed away young.
Yeah.
So
right, it's fair. But
they did a documentary. Did you see that documentary on HBO?
I knew it was you.
Yeah, it was great documentary.
Yeah. I just don't think like the average person like knows his name. He wasn't.
That's fair.
Like, he was snubbed at the Oscars for all of his roles, which I think they nominated Lee Strasberg instead, which for that movie. I just I also really like the scene where the argument that Fredo has with Michael, and is like he's sitting in that chair, and the chair is like it's like in the discussion for the best movie chair, because it's like giving the character's emotion just through like the way he's sitting. Like
it's one of those IKEA chairs that like it's one of those things.
Yeah,
that's early IKEA.
really I can attest there was IKEAs everywhere in 74. Like,
fair.
I saw them with my own eyes.
But just the physicality he does in that scene too. The wailing of the hands. That ain't what I wanted. He's almost out of control with his shame and anger at the same time. They're warring within him, and Michael is just a still water, and you can see behind him, you can see the water being a little choppy, which is of course symbolic of what's happening with their relationship. But I think that scene also where Michael hugs Fredo after their mom has died, and he looks right up at Neri just when you think possibly there might be salvation here. He looks up at Neri, and you're like, it's chilling how he looks at Neri, like, you know what you need to do. And it's like, oh my God. So definitely great choices, Matt. Definitely. All right, Colson, what is your 4? Are we up to 4?
No, we go to your 3, John.
Oh, my 3. Are we down there? Okay. So because we punted from him, right? All right. So then my 3 is the opening scene of The Godfather.
Okay.
So no one has that, The Godfather at all? No. Okay. So the opening scene, because there's such a power. It's such a gutsy decision by Coppola to start this classic film. And listen, this is 72. People don't know Coppola from much. And he comes and steps up and he does this film. And he opens not with Brando, not with Pacino, not with Keaton. He opens with this random Italian actor he has found to play this part. And he delivers this incredible monologue about being an immigrant in America and about what his daughter has endured at the hands of these Americans. And it's a gutsy thing to say. Even in 2021, it's still a powerful thing to look at and hear, where he says, you know, she kept her honor. You know, these guys, they wanted to take advantage of her, but they beat her like a dog, like an animal. And she's in the hospital with her jaw wired shut and all this stuff. And so he has come to the guy. And then you see Brando from behind. And then you see this whole interaction with them. And it's just incredible introduction to, you mentioned Omar Sharif, you mentioned Willy Wonka. This is also a phenomenal introduction to a character, because he's sitting there stroking the cat, and they pull back, and then you see Brando in all his glory as Vito Corleone. And it's so brilliant the way it fades in from black to show him doing the monologue, and then pan around to Brando. So just an incredible scene that completely lays the groundwork for the vibe that you're going to feel throughout the whole movie. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking about the diner scene from part one. If I in the Godfather,
the murder scene.
Yeah, the scene.
Where he kills
with Pacino.
Where he finds the gun in the bathroom and kills Sterling Hayden. Yeah, if I were to pick a scene from the Godfather, that would have been mine.
Yeah, that's a great scene as well. Absolutely, because this is the beginning of Michael becoming what Matt just mentioned. He becomes everything his father ends up would have ended up hating, but this is the first step in the path when he kills Sollozzo.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. All right, where are we going next?
Colson's 3. What do you got?
Okay, we got.
So I had to have a musical in there because I'm a big musical fan.
Sure.
It's Cabaret from Cabaret, the musical sequence where Liza Minnelli sings Cabaret.
I love that you chose a dark musical. I'm a fan of musicals, but I'm going to choose a dark one. Go ahead.
I mean, 70s, there's not a whole lot of musicals in the 70s opposed to later.
If I may interject, his favorite scene in the Last Picture Show is where the hope is shown and then snuffed out.
Yeah.
So that's his favorite scene in a depressing movie.
That's fair point.
Not gonna lie, I like to be sad in the movie.
Works for you.
Yeah.
But anyway, Cabaret.
Yeah, but this scene in Cabaret is not sad. It's I mean, like the whole movie is like pretty exhilarating to watch, but like Nazis are kind of hanging over the whole thing, which makes it kind of like occasional,
even more fun.
Even actually, a little bit. Like it's almost like a giant like middle finger to Hitler in like a roundabout way. But but like this scene is. I was watching it the other day to remind myself how much I love it. It's really kind of like a beautiful, inspirational like thing, is like she's Liza Minnelli is just singing about like this woman that she knew that everyone like that died tragically, and everyone came to at her funeral. It sounds sad, but it's not. Everyone came to her funeral and was like snickering, basically like, oh, that's what happens when you drink yourself to death and have too much fun. And it's sort of like but the song is basically about like how she was the happiest corpse she'd ever seen. And then Liza Minnelli is like just singing about one of my favorite characters in any movie, because but she's singing like that was the day kind of that she was realized that life is short, so she's just gonna be like as fun and like just take every like second, like live it to the fullest, basically.
Yeah.
So it's just like a really like beautiful song and beautiful movie. So
okay. All right. Yeah. There's a couple of great songs. Oh, well, there's a lot of great songs, obviously, in the movie. And Joel Grey, I think, won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in the movie. I think it won Best Picture. Cabaret did, or Best Director.
It won Best Director. Godfather won Best Picture.
Oh, that's
right. So, Best Director over Coppola, for God's sakes.
I mean, I love Godfather and I love Cabaret, but I mean, I'm happy Cabaret got as much as it did because one of my favorites.
There you go.
It's a strong statement.
I love it.
They had that song maybe this time. That's a fucking great song on that. As well.
Yeah.
All right. Good choices. Where are we going to next, Matt?
That was your 3.
Colson?
Yeah. Okay. My 2 is the punt from earlier, USS Indianapolis.
Okay. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Because that single monologue managed to take you out of the fear of just the shark in and of itself, this kind of looming monster that had no real face or personality, anything like that, but to put a human face on the terror of what a shark could do. And, we found out all these afterwards that he was drunk. He had to get himself drunk to give off to be able to do this scene. And I genuinely agree with him when you see it, because it seems as one of those dark stories that you've been holding on to. You have enough whiskey and you're willing to have discussions that you repress. And the power and impact of it kind of exceeds on some level the seeing Jaws in and of itself, because the terror that he can create in your mind, your imagination, trying to envision what it would have been like to be a bobbing, buffet for 6 days, 5 days. And if you don't get waterlogged and die from drowning, there's a good chance that a shark is going to pick you off in the middle of the night from underneath, and in the dark, and just hearing screams and just knowing it's like 8 feet away and somebody just died. And you're like, dude, fuck off, man. I'd rather see this big, huge megalodon coming for me, as opposed to the pitch blacky inkness. And that to me was worse, but it's always stuck with me.
Agree with you, Matt, 1,000%. Colson, what do you think?
I mean, how Robert Shaw didn't win an Oscar for that performance, or I mean, is one of the most iconic roles ever. I mean, he wasn't that well known at the time either. He was a character actor, and he but I mean, it's I think about
Colson, stay in your own decade. He was known for being taken at Pelham 1, 2, 3. He was known for Man for All Seasons. He was known. He was,
But you're probably right.
Household name, no. Probably not.
Not a household name, but he was known.
Vietnam did a number on my brain. I forget some of these details.
Jesus.
Man, you get older by the minute on this show. This is impressive. Vietnam, you say?
75 years young. No.
Oh my.
It's Jaws. What else are you gonna say about Jaws? It's good.
Well, I mean, the scene alone, like what he's talking about, right? Because he's finally come to the spot, and it's almost foreboding, right? It's foreshadowing what's going to happen to him later on, and the fact that he is willing to tell this story, which I bet he's only ever told maybe once, before this moment. To these guys, because they're exchanging, scars, they're having conversations and stories, and he feels a camaraderie. And he certainly ain't going to tell this story to the yokel who's his assistant, who ain't that smart. It's going to be these guys who he kind of semi-respects, because Richard Dreyfuss gives as good as he gets. Roy Scheider is the chief of police there. There's a sense of camaraderie and respect, so he can surrender this story. And when he does, it's so honest and chilling and real, that it does affect you. And the way he does get dollars eyes, like the way he just kind of stresses certain beats within the monologue is powerful. And when he says, the longest was me waiting for my turn on the line, and he just says really casually, I'll never wear a life jacket again. And the irony is that when he does, exactly what he was afraid would happen to him happens to him. And you could throw that scene in too. That is a pretty incredible scene when what happens to Quint happens to Quint at the end of the movie. That's a powerful scene too.
Well, it's immediately before the after that scene.
Just almost immediately after. Exactly. Oh, it's incredible. All right, so where we go to now? My two?
Yep.
Well, so my two is the French Connection, the car chase scene in the French Connection. That whole sequence, it's like a 7-minute sequence, and it is Gene Hackman requisitioning a car before we'd ever seen that in movies, requisitioning a car, which we've seen imitated a million times since, and then just tearing ass under the subway system there, trying to get to a stop so that he can get this guy who's connected to, I think, is it Fernando Rey, Aldo Rey, whoever the actor is that plays the villain in the movie, so we can get to this guy so we can get closer to the main, to the big baddie that he wants to get to. And just the direction by William Friedkin and having this thing darting in and out the way it does, it totally feels like you're in the car, you're scared out of your mind. There's so many near misses, panning back to Hackman, who's screaming and cussing and boom, and he's slamming into shit left and right, almost runs over a woman and her baby, and then finally gets to where he's going and has the confrontation with the guy who has been threatening the dude driving the subway train. The dude has a heart attack, which sends the subway careening into another subway. So he's already in a debilitated position by the time he comes close to close, or toe-to-toe rather, with Hackman, who himself has hit numerous cars and and brick buildings himself, and he's kind of damaged. So it's such an incredible scene that motivated so many lesser action sequences, but motivated some great action sequences as well afterwards in the decades to come. So I think it deserves its place in our top 10.
Yeah, it gives a nice amount of realism.
Yeah,
more like a kinetic realism to it.
Yes.
I mean, it definitely makes that movie. Like I'll tell you that much. I like the French Connection, but like that scene is the scene in that movie that brings it up to the next level.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we going to?
Your 2?
My number 2 is Patton. The opening monologue to Patton.
Go for number 9.
Ford Coppola again. He wrote the script for this movie. Just a phenomenal monologue, a perspective that you really didn't hear, and like you never hear that perspective anymore. I mean, it like it really puts you in the mind of this person that, I mean, has such like a particular way of like dealing with it. You get the sense that he was like a Roman general, kind of like out of time, and like he would have conquered the world, like if he was any time, but
he believes he would have conquered the world.
He definitely,
so that's half the battle, but
yeah, I mean, I just think about how the scenes where he's dealing with like being a politician, or like the idea that if he could run for office, then if he had the ability to, he could be like an Eisenhower, but he just loves war. It's like
he could never play ball, just like you said. He could never play ball, and that's his tragic downfall. And Matt's right. I think he thinks he could rule the world, but the second he got control of the entire world, he'd lose it almost immediately. Because of his
political failing show you.
He wants to fight for it. He doesn't want to.
But it's a rare instance where biggest warrior wins out in the modern age.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So you need to be a good politician on top of that. Like you want to be more Caesar as opposed to Genghis Khan, because he had to kill millions to get to where he was.
Right. I find it funny that it's Richard Nixon's favorite movie as well, which like makes so much sense. Like when you really think about it.
A paranoid, power-hungry guy as well. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't see the analogy, guys. He's good people. I've been to his museum. It's pretty sweet.
Right.
But also, it's a brilliant piece of writing, and it is something that we just did it on the Cinephiles a few months ago. We talked about how like Coppola, he was kicked off the film as the writer of the film because they didn't like this monologue when they first got it. I think in the early 60s, and it wasn't until later that they revisited this monologue and revisited his script for it. And when George C. Scott came onto the project, and they showed him that script, that's the one he liked, the one that Coppola wrote. So that's how that ended up there. And what actor doesn't want a monologue like that in a movie, right? And you could argue that's what really won him the Best Actor Oscar. Yeah, he's great throughout the movie, but that monologue and the way he's like, make the things he was saying about, put your hand.
No bastard ever won a war for dying for his country.
You make the other poor bastard die for his country. And he goes, some of you are scared about, you don't know what you'll do. But when you stick your hand in a pile of goo that used to be your best friend, you'll know what to do. And those are those things that's a military man. But that's what's great about the movie. That sets you up to see him as a hero. But Coppola, who's brilliant about undercutting this throughout the whole movie, puts the chinks in the armor throughout. And then at the end, it's you realize that he is a tragic figure because he cannot get out of his own way. And he can't keep his mouth shut and play ball when he needs to play ball. And that's the tragedy of him. And it's brilliant. Such a brilliant beginning. And the whole look of the flag behind him and all of that, it's genius.
Absolutely.
And too many people like Born in the USA think it's a military inspirational film when in fact it's about highlighting the perils of war and the damage of war.
But if you've only seen the opening speech, it is.
Yeah, true. That's true.
If you like, there's a thing in movies where a movie is sort of like critiquing something, and then people unaware watch it and think it's like it's for their cause,
Right.
It's like at Lakers games at the end they play "I Love L.A." That song is destroying Los Angeles. And at the end of every fucking W, we love it. Hey, homeless guy begging for change. Like, okay.
Right. It's like all the people that thought that Borat was like about making fun of like a funny foreign man. It's like, what movie were you paying attention like at all?
He's also doing that.
Sure, but you know, it's not. He famously does not agree with those that kind of person.
Yeah, the people he's lampooning.
Yeah.
All right, where are we off to next?
So that was Colson's 2. My number 1 is, I know Colson's Binary Suns punt. I chose the opening crawl.
Oh, wow. Star Wars. Star Wars? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Still puts the hairs on the back of my neck stand up every time you hear that horn blast and just the slow, even now, going into episode 9, when I just assumed at this point, I'm not going to more than likely enjoy this. And to those that did, I'm glad you did. That's awesome. But that horn blast still gave me hope and made me believe that I was going to be transported and enjoy the living shit out of this. And it still has that effect. I can put that on at any point, but it's all thanks to A New Hope. Yeah. And because of that, I don't know. You can choose any scene in there that you want. I am utterly fine with that. But that one now has impact through other movies. So that's why I chose that one.
So it's like accounts of like people seeing the Phantom Menace like that was like a warm blanket, at the start of that,
people erupt in applause every time.
It doesn't matter how bad the movie is, just like you. Yeah.
Good
pick.
Totally. I mean, for me, it's the death of Obi-Wan because that's what starts everything. And I know the lightsaber fight is one of the worst fights overall. You're seeing an old man try to do spin moves against Vader. It is not great. But it's the symbolism of it because he surrenders himself to the death. And I remember as a kid seeing that the first time, being absolutely devastated and screaming when he died, like Luke does, and I just remember that, and that starts everything. If Ben doesn't die, Obi-Wan doesn't die in that moment, Luke doesn't become what he becomes, the rebellion doesn't become what it becomes. It's all instigated by Ben. And of course, Ben coming back and, like talking, use the Force, Luke, all of that. It's exactly what he warned Vader. He said, if you strike me down, I will become even more powerful in death. And that's such a great moment for me of symbolic stuff, So, yeah.
For me, it's always been the binary sunset because when I like to think of Star Wars as like the Wizard of Oz of the 70s. So to me, that binary sunset scene is it's somewhere over the rainbow for a new generation. To me,
okay. Oh yeah, okay.
So it's because it's this character literally growing up on a farm, wanting more out of their life, and staring off into the distance. It's a rainbow. It's twin suns. So, and it is kind of it's the most famous movie of all time since Wizard of Oz. I would say it was like,
I would say it exceeds Wizard of Oz at this point.
Well, at this point it does, but it's like Wizard of Oz and 39 was like most famous American movie, and then Star Wars, surpassed that. And then I think there hasn't been anything since then that's quite at that level of like every single line and scene and moment and beat and in that film is iconic to everybody. So I mean, John Williams' score obviously, but
and when you were talking about that duel, I was thinking if it was made today and then Alec Guinness has like a Liam Neeson like action movie resurgence because he had to get good at all the spinning, and just picturing Alec Guinness making Taken. That's where my head went anyway. But it's throughout and it's captured the imagination of countless generations and will for the foreseeable future. Hopefully it does. Hopefully this lives on and they continue to churn out, quality.
We'll see.
Quality television, probably. I mean,
we'll get a good movie here. So, hey, look, Rogue One. John and I are fans.
That's what I disagree with you guys on a lot of things.
You can kick him off the stream now.
I mean, like, how can a 70s guy not like Rogue One? I don't understand.
Rogue One is not.
It's a 70s movie.
Not my favorite.
You shut your mouth. You shut it. Zip.
Okay.
Get it.
Well,
Sure.
some in the chat. Robert Carney says the trench run for me was Star Wars. Lemke
That's
says same.
Yeah.
Bobby Philip Hunt says the end credits always for me. I just love the music and seeing the cast names. James says, yeah, Luke blowing up the Death Star and Han returning. And Robert Carney agreeing with us. Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars films ever made.
You know what? Confirmation bias. Some
when I have
people.
my own show, I can kick off Robert Carney and
You
Go
do
right
that.
ahead.
You do that. Knock yourself
Yeah,
out.
sure.
Yeah. If he's even going to listen to your show. All right. Where are we going?
Well, he knows your opinion now about
fired.
Rogue One, so he might be hesitant.
yeah, no, that scene where the space samurai with the stick was walking, I was very moved, but never mind.
Are you insane? That scene makes you cry every time. Are you
People
fucking
talk
insane?
about that movie like the characters
God.
have personalities. It's very
They
bizarre.
do.
They do.
Oh my god.
Like
You're
maybe
insane.
What do you
so
like?
inconsistent,
How do you
like-
not love this? All the hope gets destroyed in this movie, save for one piece of data.
Yeah,
Everybody
look,
dies. This seems like it should be your favorite.
Cassian Andor shoots a guy in his opening scene, and then
Yeah.
throughout the entire rest of the movie is not that character. Like who are any of these people? You know,
Because he
Like,
can't be that character because he's got a bigger responsibility.
It's
He would kill.
writing.
Yeah, he would.
He would have killed Urso's dad, but like she talks him out of it because she
Right.
says he's got this thing. And
Yeah,
so
it shows they still are people as
Yeah.
opposed to
Still
the
a human
Empire,
being.
which are mindless droids. They're
I
droids.
liked Alan Tudyk as the comic relief droid. and that's
K2SO. He was
Yeah,
awesome.
as far as I go with that movie.
All right.
It's
All
I don't know.
Fair enough.
some people agree with you. Matthew Simmons says, thank you, Colson. You tell him. Philip Hunt says, when your most likable character is a robot, you know your movie sucks. Rogue One is nostalgic, but when your most likable character is a robot. So let me ask you something, Philip. So then does Blade Runner suck? Because Roy Batty is the most likable character. He is an android who's in essence a robot. Does that make Blade Runner suck?
No, it's more like the
Let me ask you a question.
character of Rogue One is the comic relief character, and as opposed to like
I don't know.
Yeah,
How is it comic relief? He literally clotheslines Jyn Erso. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah,
Comic
but he
relief
also
is
drops
comic
their
relief.
bags when they hand him the bags, and they're
Yeah,
like, "Hey,
because
hold on to
he's
these before we go to
jealous.
town."
Yeah.
He is jealous. I thought it was perfect. It's way better than seeing Finn pop out and he's got some weird suit on. It's some stooges like. Am I supposed to be laughing right now, or your mom jokes?
Oh, the mom
wasting
jokes.
them.
The
Yeah, I don't
fucking
Oh,
this is
Last
so
Jedi.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
You have
That
Riz
was-
Ahmed, one of the greatest actors working today, as a character that it does nothing.
True, he was underutilized.
Yeah, he gets his brain like raped
Scrambled.
by a squid. Like
Yeah.
that's all he does in that movie.
It's Star Wars. What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Perfectly
Saw
reasonable.
Gerrera does nothing in that either. He just
What are you
kind of
talking
goes
about?
off.
Yeah, he is. Because I think they in reshoots they
Yeah.
cut his scenes.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
They
there's
were-
So-
a good movie to be had there, but it's not.
Oh,
I don't
man,
think
you
it's
are-
the one
maybe-
that got-
Yeah, maybe it already is there, but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Maybe it's
Sure.
pretty fucking perfect
Yeah.
for a Star Wars
Uh,
movie. It's pretty perfect.
Sure.
Paul Cree says it's the best Star Wars movie ever. There you go. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I believe Paul works at the BBC, so that's journalistic integrity
fair-
right there.
fair
So
enough.
that
Yeah,
opinion
yeah.
carries a little more weight.
Right.
Philip-
Right.
Philip coming back saying comparing Blade Runner to Rogue One is disgusting. What is so
It
that's
is.
I'm not comparing it. I'm saying I'm using your words in your defense, Philip, saying that if a android is or a robot is the best part of your movie sucks. I'm using your words, arguing on your battlefield. Don't change battlefields. If
Exactly.
you can't win the battle on your own battlefield.
Don't
It's
bigly us.
also- It's more like the fact that it's a side character. Like the robots in Blade Runner are like 95% of the cast of Blade Runner.
I'm taking what he said. I'm taking what he said. So
Yeah.
I agree with John. You argue the point, not what you want the point to be.
exactly.
Sure. Okay.
All right, let's move on to our next, and that's our number one.
Yeah.
That's your number one. What do you got?
Is it my turn? Yeah, that's right. My number one is the Apocalypse Now. So that's the punt from earlier from everybody. I think for me, it's that whole end sequence. As soon as as soon as the music hits, when the music's over, all the whatever it's called. This is the end. Sorry, the end. When he slides out of the PT boat and he says, he starts talking. They were going to give you a medal for this. I'm not even their fucking army anymore. And then when he comes out of the water with the smoke and the flash of the lightning and his face all camoed up, And then when he goes in and Brando is reading what he's reading, Colonel Kurtz is reading, and then you're seeing that bison or water buffalo getting sliced up into pieces, and the way he cuts up Brando, it's just like powerful as hell. The Coppola, that is his masterpiece. I know there are other films, Godfather 2, Godfather's certainly never going to argue that, but Apocalypse Now to me is his most fully self-realized masterpiece.
Agreed.
This is Coppola's brain on film for 2.5, 3 hours. And the original cut is still the best cut. There are some added scenes that are good to watch in the subsequent cuts that have been released through the years, but the original cut and that ending and the Doors music is just perfect for it. So,
is it the end at the
end?
I know it starts with the end.
Yeah,
but
the end.
It also end with the end. I actually, because I know like famously it starts with the end.
Yeah.
Oh no, it begins and ends with the end. Yeah, the napalm drop at the beginning is the end. And at the end, yes, it ends with the end as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I picked the Ride of the Valkyries sequence, which to me is just always like it's just exhilarating to watch. Like the helicopters and paired with the music. It gives me chills every time I watch it. And like famously, Coppola had them like redo the editing of that scene a couple of times because like at a certain point when like the music hits, like the water looked more blue or some shit. Like it was some crazy like director stuff. But he said like when the helicopters come over the horizon, he wanted the music to come at like just the right time.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal sequence. I remember when I first watched that movie back in 1979. When I first watched that movie, I kind of didn't understand like a lot of what was going on because my experience of like what war was up till that point was sort of like World War II films, and then Vietnam is like I was kind of confused why people were like why movies like Full Metal Jacket, for instance, played like, funny pop songs and there's people with cameras like and surfing and everywhere. And it sort of gives a whole new like perspective to like what this war was. It like opens your mind to like these people were just like no one had any fucking idea what was going on. It's like Colonel Kurtz and Kilgore, his monologue about the napalm part's famous, but like to me, it's more ridiculous. He's just trying to find a place to surf.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie, I find there's a whole like subplot about like trying to get his surfboard back. It's like fucking ridiculous in the middle of this like war film, but it's just pitch perfect.
Because that war was madness.
Yeah,
Yes.
It was madness.
There was no clear objective, whereas World War II, it's like kill Nazis, be good guys.
Right.
Got it.
It's easy. That's why they made so many movies. How do you not? It's simple. Easily identifiable villain. We're the good guys. We all agree they're some of the biggest shitbags of all time. Go.
Yeah.
Whereas Vietnam is like, I don't know, it was this complex political trying to stop the Cold War, lied about getting into it, and now the collateral damage of the individuals plus what it did to society thereafter.
Yeah.
And we have this catharsis by making Vietnam movies.
Yeah, there's so many good Vietnam movies, though. I think out of all the wars, it's clearly like has the best.
Oh yeah.
Films.
Well, to get into these type of depths, yeah.
Agreed. And no androids or robots in that one either. All right, let's see. Who's next?
So we got Colson 1, and we're
all right. What's your one, Colson?
My number one is Network.
Okay.
I'm as mad as hell seeing from Network.
Okay.
I personally, I think I like the Ned Beatty capitalism speech better.
Yeah, it was between that one or
I love the Mad as Hell, but the Ned Beatty's is real.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's unfortunately even just as relevant today as it was when they first did that, and more so. And that's what hurts about it. Whereas the Mad as Hell, I think, is, you could say that about any era people are getting upset with. And this is very specific to the modern age.
Right.
And it's gross and true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I picked the Mad as Hell because although like I love that Ned Beatty monologue, I used to like scream it at my friend in the hallways when we were in high school.
That's a hell of a choice.
Yeah, well, like we'd scream it back and forth to each other. We used to do that with random movie quotes and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a side note. Yeah, but the I'm as mad as hell scene to me, I like it because it's kind of meaningless. Like it is sort of intentionally he's fear mongering, but it's sort of and that time in it's the 70s, but it's also 2020. It's so many different points in history. I think the real like genius of that movie is that it's or that scene is that it's people like think of it as like this explosion of anger, and it is, but it's also aimless. It's like he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Which I think honestly kind of makes it like more interesting, like as a scene, because it's he's he gets this entire show this like ranting about nonsense, and then the second he says something that actually has bearing on the world, he gets murdered. It's I mean it's one of my I struggled not putting Dog Day Afternoon on this list because I was keeping it one per director.
Sure.
Sidney Lumet's one of my all-time faves, but
okay.
Yeah, network. I'm surprised you didn't have a network at all, John.
No, I don't gravitate to that movie as much as everybody else does. It took Steve a long time to convince me to watch it so we could do it for Cinephiles, because there are films that you've moved past, like everything they present in network. Yeah. By the time I decided to, turn around and go back to it, I've moved past the concepts because I've already accepted and know the concepts.
Okay.
So
you exist on a higher plane than the rest of us.
No, I'm not saying that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You know what?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I don't mind if a robot or android is a side character, but when it's a primary, that really bothers me. And I think it leads to subpar movies.
You got to understand where we've been to know where we're going, man.
Well, it's like watching Dogma.
No, it's not.
How is that? You cannot draw that parallel.
It's a treatise on religion, and it's the biggest duh I've ever watched in my life. Watching that movie is duh. But
but I think the Ned Beatty is the truth is
so
so.
Yeah, but what if you already knew those concepts before you watched the movie, or understood those concepts before you watched the movie? Then you're just like,
you could say that about every movie. You understand every concept. Well,
because it all depends on when you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to denigrate the film. I'm saying I had moved past the concepts that they presented in the film and already accepted them as truth in my life.
I don't know.
When I watched the movie, it didn't have the same effect on me as it has.
It's like
other people.
We all know like World War II was bad. Like, am I not going to watch Private Ryan because like I know what
Don't bring up Private Ryan. You're not going to win me on that.
Yeah, you're not going to win with him on.
I'm just saying, like knowing what the like things about what a movie's about doesn't make it any less powerful. It's saying things that are still true today.
Also movies are subjective. Am I not right on that? So like whatever's powerful to you may not be powerful to fucking me.
I just think like calling network like not like no longer relevant.
Yeah, I never said that. Never fucking said that.
You're just saying it's kind of like we know.
He's saying it doesn't resonate with him like it does.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I fucking said. I'm talking about me, not about the cult, not about its place in the culture or its place in society. Right. I said by the time I watched it, I already accepted all the concepts or knew the concepts they presented. Totally. That being said, it is if you're watching it as a young person, it is a prescient film and still resonates today. Faye Dunaway's character, this idea, like that's essentially a producer at a news network, no matter what side of the fence you're on, pushing if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, ratings, man.
Exactly. And quite a few people understand how to work the PR system for ratings for themselves, for their brands, and what have you. It's still happening today. You see it all the time. That scene where she's, don't fuck with my distribution. That's the whole idea of these supposedly noble causes or people behind these noble causes. In fact, it's about them and how much money they can make and how much popularity and fame they can get from it. Never, ever stop questioning that bullshit. So anyway, I had just already accepted it by the time I watched in my 30s. Network. So that's all. I'm not bashing the film.
Sure. You know everything about the news and it's all yeah.
You'll get there someday. You're still in school, kid. Give me a break.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway,
If you ever like turn on like the news though, like clearly more people need to watch network. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think people care anymore, which is what the
No,
film
nobody.
Yeah,
was saying. So yeah.
Yeah, I watched Good Night and Good Luck.
Oh yeah.
I rewatched it a couple nights ago, and I really think that's would be a great double feature with network because it's
Certainly.
it's sort of like the movie begins and ends with Edward R. Murrow basically saying if we're not careful and we don't educate people with television and with news, like shit's gonna get bad.
Yeah.
And
But
network
people want to be. People got to want to be educated. That's the problem.
people don't want to be
don't
educated.
want to be.
Most of television isn't in that business.
Yeah. No. It
All right. Well, we ready to settle this bad boy?
yeah. Let's do it. Let's
Okay.
combine these things. I've got.
So I'm just going to list
bongos right here.
since we have so much overlap.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with so I think Star Wars is number one because we all three have it. I have it at 1.
Okay.
But do we pick the scene or just the movie?
I'm going to pick the movie on this because
Yeah.
Sure.
a bunch of these we have more than one scene.
Yeah, we're not going to break it down by scenes.
All right. So do all three of us have the Indianapolis for Jaws?
I do.
I do have, yeah.
Okay, because I think that's the only other 3, isn't it?
Yeah, what about Apocalypse Now? No, you don't have
Wait,
Apocalypse? Wow.
You don't
Neither
have
of us have it.
Neither of you have Apocalypse?
I have Apocalypse Now.
Oh, do you?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
What number do you have?
Apocalypse Now. I do have Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's focus on the 3s, as Matt said. So Star Wars, I have it at where is it? A 7.
We all have Patton or just
Hold on. Let's focus on Star Wars.
Yes. Where do you have? What number do you have Star Wars at, Colson?
4.
And you have
All right.
where, Matt?
So 147 beats Jaws because I think I have the highest at 2.
Okay. Okay.
So Star Wars, then Jaws, and then it's probably going to be what, all doubles from here. Correct? Yeah, all doubles.
I think so.
Aliens?
So-
Do we all have aliens or no?
No, you and I have Alien.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Alien. Sorry.
I
Alien.
I almost had Alien, but it didn't. I didn't
Okay.
have it.
Where do you guys have Apocalypse Now? 1
I
and
have.
what?
I have it 1. Yeah.
I have it at 7.
I think that beats any other duo.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put Apocalypse at 3.
Listen to this kid. He's like, yeah, put it at 3.
All right,
All
so
Well, no, it's next.
then I guess Network is 1.5. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
Apocalypse Now was 1.7, so the Network would make 3.
Oh, that's a fucking shame. Wow. All right.
Apocalypse Now, so
I have Network at 1. Yeah.
yeah. Alien, I've got at 6.
I've got it at 8.
we have anything-
What about Patton? Do we both do? Who
I
else?
have
where do you
Patton
got
at 9.
Okay, I have it at 2.
All right, Patton wins that.
Okay.
Alien, and I don't have any more commonality with any of you. Do you? Either the two of you have anything in common?
Deer Hunter, right?
Right. Deer Hunter, I have it at 10.
I have it at 6.
But Matt and I have Holy Grail.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
My bad. I got that at 7.
Okay. I have it at 6.
All right, so
Okay, so Holy Grail.
Python, Deer Hunter. Okay, who's got the highest left? Got my 3.
Wait, do we have Alien? Do you
All
have
right, it's already on the list.
Okay, cool. Then the next one I have is my number 2, which is the chase scene in the French Connection.
Okay,
Colson, what do you got?
I have my 3 left.
All right, the French Connection makes it. I have my 3. You have your 3. John, do you have a 3?
Opening scene of The Godfather. Yes, that's my 3.
All right, so it is a 3-parter
Wow. What number is this for 10?
for 10.
Ooh. All
So
right,
it's
what is it?
Godfather 2 for me.
Ooh,
I'm
Godfather.
willing to concede to The Godfather because you both have one of the Godfather movies, although they're different.
All right. Colson, pull out a coin. Then I think Colson flips between the two of us, Matt. What do you
Well, I think he's
okay.
voting for my choice, is what he's saying.
He's saying Godfathers, I think.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, as opposed to which scene, there's probably be a coin flip. They're both pretty great.
Do you got a coin there?
I can get one.
Or you can open up Google and just type in coin flip and it brings up. a
I got a
random-
coin
Does
flip.
it do that? Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, you just click a button and.
It only took us 4 years to figure that out.
Oh no, it's always been there, but I think
What?
the physical is more fun
Oh, okay, fair.
because then there's the drama of whether or not it's a good flip, and then if it rolls across the room, and
That's true. It's a good point. The drama. The drama. All right.
Who's got? You gonna call it in the air? Or just,
Go ahead, Matt. Oh, yeah, go ahead, man.
It was heads and tails. I mean,
Just flip it. Once you flip it, I'll see that it's going up, and I'll call it tails.
it's tails.
No,
Hey,
a little bit of hesitation from Colson.
No,
Well,
it was the
75. His eyes are failing him.
yeah.
All right, we ready?
Yes, Matthew Simmons. No love for Clockwork Orange. No love for a rape scene from the Clockwork Orange.
I
Sorry,
thought
Matthew.
about it. I did think.
No.
I love Kubrick though, but I couldn't think of a scene that I would feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, you ready?
All right, let's do it. All right. Let's see the top 10 scenes from films in the 1970s. Yeah. At number 10.
The Godfather 2.
At number 9.
The French Connection.
At number 8.
The Deer Hunter.
At number 7.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
At number 6.
Alien.
At number 5.
Patton.
At number 4.
Apocalypse Now.
At number 3.
Network.
At number 2.
Jaws.
And our number 1 scene from films of the 1970s
Is Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Nothing.
Boom.
Well,
All
that was
right.
good. That was a fun show. Thank you, Colson,
Yeah.
for the excellent topic. We thoroughly
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Have a discussion.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. We appreciate you, crushing it in the golden ticket. You were awesome in the tournament, and for being a patron.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was all worth it and you enjoyed yourself on today's show.
Yeah.
I definitely did. Am I eligible for golden ticket too, or am I disqualified?
I
I'm
feel
assuming
like
I'm disqualified.
you got the show. I feel like you got the show, Colson. I feel like
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll create a tournament of champions of champions.
Champions. I'll be the James Holzhauer or the Ken Jennings, I guess.
that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
We can
And
make
then, and then I'll come back and host the show once you die and do a terrible job.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow.
Man, I got cancer. Well, yeah, at least I know now. So that's good.
That's hilarious. All right. Well, there we go. Well, thanks to everybody who joined us live here, all the patrons. It's been a lively chat for sure. I really appreciate all of you all joining us. If you're a patron of the top 10, you're at the $10 and above level. This is a perk that you get. You get to watch, I think, 2 shows a month. We do them live, record them live. You get to get your comments read and possibly even come in live to have your thoughts and opinions discussed on a show. And then we drop this episode normally on Tuesday night for everybody, or Monday at midnight for everybody else.
Mhm.
So that's the way we're doing things now. So if you'd like to jump up, if you're watching this after we've dropped it for everybody else, and you'd like to jump up to the $10 level, be a part of our rowdy group that's here having fun discussions about movies every 2 weeks live on the Top 10 show and on the channel, on the YouTube channel, please feel free to do that at patreon.com/the-top10, number 10 there. What do we say, man?
Yeah, I thoroughly appreciate it when people disagree with us in that chat.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to find
Love
out when people are wrong about Rogue One, like our guest, Good to know. Good to know. But yeah, thanks to everybody that joined us today, and to Colson for joining us on the show itself. Is there anything you want to say or plug or promote before we get out of here?
Not really. I mean, I'm finishing my semester in college. I don't have anything to plug right now.
All right. Well,
All
good luck with the rest of your studies, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, bye.
All right. Later, buddy.
All right, Matt, that was a great time with Colson. It was the first inaugural winner of the Golden Ticket tournament there, and that'll be coming up around the corner in a few months as well. We'll be ramping up for that again, get going, so that's going to be a blast. And those are the perks. If you're watching us now and you didn't participate in Golden Ticket last year, or the last season rather, get ready to participate this time around. I'm sure we'll have announcements coming up very, very soon.
Darn tootin'. I think that's it for today's show.
Yep.
If you want, you can follow me anywhere at Matt Knost. Check out the store's either YouTube page or the Instagram account. They both have the same suffix at the end, which is / the top 10 podcast with the number 10. So Instagram.com and YouTube.com and the same suffix for the top 10 podcast with the number 10. And check out Settle the Score or Dropping Dimes. And that is it for me this week.
There you go. And you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And like I said, we've got the YouTube channel. If you're not watching us on the YouTube channel, you're listening to us, you can come over to the YouTube channel as well. And if you want to come over to my YouTube channel, you can do that. It's youtube.com/John Rocha Says. All the great stuff I got going on there. We just finished all the WandaVision spoiler reviews for the Geek Buddies. Go and watch all those. And of course, the Cinephiles there as well. All right, that's it. We're out of here. Much love to you guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the Top 10 Show. Be well.